morning. Welcome to another episode of the Performance Cafe. Winter's definitely back here with us. I am very upset, so this morning I'm on hot chocolate and not coffee. Our secret though, because I don't think it's all that healthy to have hot chocolate quite so early in the morning. So today I wanted to continue on what we had spoken about earlier, well, the past few days actually, where we were talking about how we manage and what kind of leadership styles we need in order to deal with, the 2020s, given that some of our management principles have come all the way from the 1820s. And I think for me, the biggest question that people have is, firstly, how do I manage in difficult times, whether it's remote teams or local teams? And for that, we have the episode on goal setting. So I'm not going to talk about that too much. You can just go and look up that episode. I'll put the reference to it down below. But besides dealing with difficult times for a short period, as we are now, where, we're starting to see lockdown lift and things are starting to move on again. I think in general, one of the biggest problems that we've had has been that in the 1820s, management was about managing very structured, very routine, very repetitive work with very little or no differentiation day to day. And today we work with knowledge workers, and the environment is diverse, the clients are diverse, we work across international borders, we work across different cultures. And so the difficult thing is that work is not structured, work is not routine. Now, one of the things that we've had change over the past couple of years is from going from structured and routine to having work with more diversity in it. But the way it's been managed has been a management approach, not a leadership approach. And that is things like we work from 8 till 5. By the way, just interestingly enough, the concept of working 8 hours actually came from the Industrial Revolution as well. So 200 years later, we're still listening to that rule from then. So we work from 8 to 5. You have a timesheet. You have to, comply with all of these measures which actually prove that you are working. What if we shifted the focus from proving what you're putting in to proving what you're helping us get out? What if we take a look at outcomes-based management as opposed to task-based management? So instead of having a timesheet that says 8 to 8:30, I've done this. 8:30 to 9, I've done this. I was at the office at 8, I had 15 minutes break for tea, I had an hour for lunch. Instead of regulating how people do their work and deliver their tasks in order to get an outcome, what if we said, I want you to deliver X. I don't care which hours you work. I don't care where you work. Because all of a sudden, I don't have to micromanage your tasks because you are delivering outcomes. Now, along with some of the advice that I gave in earlier episodes, where I said that managers should be high touch, managers should be available for questions. It's about providing support for your employees when they need it, and a lot less about making sure that they're ticking boxes on they have done this, they have done that. An interesting perspective on this is that, have you ever noticed how you break rules? We all do, right? I don't think there's anyone that can say they never ever break a rule. We break rules because they do not make sense to us. So the interesting thing is that if your employees are not ticking particular boxes, it may be not because it's a bad employee, but because the rule does not make sense to them in their environment. And even more so when we are looking at, do we have a couple of team members that don't tick the same box? Then we take a look at how do we change the organization's functions to better support the delivery of outcomes. And if that box needs to be checked, well, then we just have to push through, and then it becomes a matter of demanding it. But if it doesn't, why put up procedural constraints that stops people from delivering their outcomes? The other thing that I like about the move from a task-managed to an outcomes-managed leadership position is that it allows people, as we've been speaking about, to be engaged, to do their best. So instead of following a strict rigid little routine list, if they don't want to, and if it doesn't make sense to them, they can actually focus on how do they deliver their best while feeling their best and giving their best and being engaged. Right? I think I've spoken about it before. I'm a morning person. I can be up at 4 o'clock and going, and that's fine. But heaven forbid, after 8 o'clock at night, I have a sense of personality failure. Lots of people actually work the other way around. They do their best work after 5. Why then constrain them? As long as they deliver the outcome by the time that it's required so that other team members can work on it, who cares what time they worked? And watch out, managers, because we often project ourselves onto them. So we will think, oh, well, I'm a morning person, so I want everyone here by 8 o'clock. They must be seated and start working at 8 o'clock. Just because I like it that way doesn't mean it works for everyone else. I personally need to talk to people to be able to get my work done. It's part of my thinking process. It's part of this channel and why I started it. And in honoring that, I have been able to find a way to actually help myself process and during the time of isolation. So when people speak at the water cooler, let them, because some of them are going to need that in order to process. Some of them are going to want to sit in a meeting and process or work in a collaborative environment. Some of them are not going to. Some of them are going to want to sit at home and work and do focused work. The important thing is manage the outcome, not the person or the task, and you should get a better result. I'm hoping that the past couple of vlogs are going to help you move into something that is what I believe a much more disciplined, but a much more rigorous actually way of managing your team, where you can be high touch with them, where you can support them as they go through their goals and help them achieve the goals instead of micromanaging each and every single task. That's one of the ways that we make sure that at the end, the outcome is delivered, is we don't wait for the end of the process before we see if there are any problems. I hope, as always, that you've enjoyed this vlog. I look forward to hearing from you on LinkedIn, on Facebook, as well as at our YouTube page. And yes, until tomorrow morning, where I think we'll talk about trust, I look forward to seeing you at the next Performance Cafe.